Welcome all. In this session, I would like to present virtualization for data center automation. Means how we are using the data centers which are automated for accessing the data and performing the task on it, and the next whatever the workloads we are doing, how we are going to manage these things. So that is storage management and any cloud OS or there, how we are going to perform all these things has been discussed here. That is how we are going virtualizing the data centers which are automated has been discussed here. These are the things I am going to cover in this session. So server consolidation in data centers, virtual storage management, cloud OS for virtualized data centers, plus management in virtualized data centers. So first, data centers. So what are the data centers? Why we need use these data centers means all the major IT companies which are we are using, which are we are situated in this decades or any means of what are processing here are putting their resources into the building new data centers. Means they are giving their resources to build new data centers, and then next what they are doing is they are investing many means a huge amount of billions of the dollars of the money in data center construction and its automation only. So what is the data center automation? Data center automation means huge volumes of the hardware, software, database resources can be allocated dynamically to millions of internet users simultaneously, which are guaranteeing the quality of the service and cost effectiveness there. So, who are the means who are choosing this type of environments? Google, Yahoo, Amazon, Microsoft, HP, Apple, IBM. So, many are there. These are the resources what they are providing also, and they are accessing all the things in processing the data dynamically, and they are what they are means allocating these one and accessing all these things simultaneously by these through automation here. So the automation what you are providing is triggered by the growth of the virtualization products and cloud computing services here. So if we see from 2006 to 2011, according to this report of an IDC 2007, the growth of the virtualization and its market distribution in these IT sectors has been rapidly increased. And in 2006, if you are preferring to the virtualization on the market share, that is into the business or the enterprise opportunities, there is also a huge change. There is a huge growth has been observed. If we are automating our means data centers, dynamically providing all the data to our users, which are connecting through the internet here. So if we are providing the virtualization, which is moving towards the mobility, which will enhance the reducing planned downtime, that is maintenance will be, so the maintenance what you are providing will be, that is downtime will be reduced, and there is an increase in the number of virtual clients who are going to process, or we are going to use this production consolidation, software development, and the services what we are providing through the virtualization, that is through the virtual environment to access and then to process all these things what you are having. So the latest development how can you are providing is high availability. The high availability is specified as a HA here. So high availability and the next backup services, workload balancing, and whatever you are representing are the highlights of your virtual environment here. So if we are productive, means if you are concentrating on the IDC projected automation, the service oriented one, it is policy based one, and the cost of that one is a variable based on the virtualization of the market here. Means if we are choosing the area of virtualization, what it is doing is it is allowing the cost to be reduced, or the cost to be high based on the environment what you have chosen here. So if we consider this type of automation into your environment, whether it is a business one, share market, or in the IT one, what it does is nothing but it giving the increase of your opportunities, and then next also providing the things that is computing and consolidations whatever you are providing into the processing things based on the designs what you are having. That is, there is an increase in the client accessing, and then next also providing the services without any fee. So in this, we are having several representations how we are going to provide the automation and how we are going to support this one is considered as a server consolidations, storage managements, how the operating system is supporting, how the trust has been maintained here. So that the first one is a server consolidation. So what is the server consolidation? So this consolidation is represented as we are having a number of servers to access or to process your data. What we need to do here is to reduce the number of the services or the server locations which are situated in the physical manner to compute these resources and more efficiently and reducing the cost. So how we are going to do these things here is we need to take all these things. We need to evolve the workloads what we are providing. That is the heterogeneous workloads which are we are using has to be divided into the several things. That is workloads to a single server or a combining workloads under the single operating system has to be increased. So if we see this diagram, so here having maintaining multiple servers here, multiple servers and multiple servers are maintaining, that is giving their work individually. Sometimes it is taking the same, the one server is performing a task and simultaneously other server is also performing the same task here. So if we go for these top one, that is file and print, so these two servers are taking the files and then performing the printing operations. Means if they are giving the access to the files and then it's storing the files, any processing, any updations will be done, modifications, whatever it is done, it has to be done by these two servers. And the third one we are having is the domain controller. So what this domain controller does is nothing but who is accessing, what are the files they can access, and what will be the chances of accessing has to be specified there. And the underneath we are having again three servers which are supporting, two for the SharePoint and the other for the applications which are oriented for accessing the systems of the users what they are providing. Here the multiple workloads what you are using are being separated or being distributed to the different servers, and evenly we are maintaining the six servers. For this we are having the four servers which are commonly used for the one work only. Means SharePoint is using two servers and the next file and print also using two servers here. So what it is providing is they could be that is we can use a workload server which is a consolidate. So what is a consolidation means whatever the work is has been performed by these servers, that is a six servers, physical servers, what there are the server locations, whatever you are specifying has to be loaded into a single server, and the things what they are performing has to be added here. Means here it is performing the file and print, it is also performing the file and print, SharePoint, domain controller and applications. Means the work which has been done by the six different users, that is the number of servers what you are using, can be reduced to the single server or many. Means you can use a not a single server based on your requirement and the working pressure of that thing. You can use some multiple servers also there. So by that what you are doing is you are you are reducing the work, and then next what you are providing is the servers what you are maintaining. Means see, allocating a server is not a single one. What we need to do is nothing but to allocate this server we need a workspace, and we for this to maintenance of this thing what we have to provide is we need to take all these things has to be considered, and then next provide the things means electricity, and then next cooling functions, all these things, the people who want to maintain the server, the nodes which are connected to the server and the administrators, all these things has been reduced by consolidating into a single server in this example. And then next you're having the what are the objectives or the subjective classification, what are the works it can be done here is, so it can be used in the monitoring, hypervisor time, consolidation triggering, next proofing, data center scales, SLA aware, and then the indices. What are the means why we are creating these things is resource utilization, power management, resource affinity, communication cost, and system maintenance. So these are the things what we need to provide. So what is the scaling of that one? We can use the different scales. Means you can, it is not specified by these large and the medium. You can use the different scales based on your things. So this is a representation of the things what it is server consolidation will support. And then you are having representation of the workloads here. So yeah, as I said, there are the workloads here. So these heterogeneous workloads are divided into two categories. So the first one is the interactive one, and the other one is represented as the high performance computer oriented one. So the first one is means non-interactive one, that is. So first one is chatty workload. So the chatty workload is nothing but, so we are presenting this as a burst one. So here we are using the burst environment at some point, and what you are providing is it could return to a silent state at some other point. Means it is working burstly at some point and return to the silent state at some other point. Means how you are going to explain this thing? Means it is a workload. For example, if you are taking an app, your app, considering a app, what it is doing, what it is performing has to be considered as a workload here. How it is performing the chatty workload means, if you are considering any messaging app, some of the times the people will use the messaging apps at the evening times or the night times, what you are providing, there is a WhatsApp or anything, video calling or anything, because at the morning times most of the people will be busy in their works. So at their works and then next processing will be, so for that what they done is nothing but, here the workload what you are providing is, so at this morning times what you are providing is during the daytime few people only use that thing. Then what it is, that the peak point what you are providing is a low here. So at the other time means at the evening to, from evening to morning itself, what it is providing, rapidly people are using that thing because they're having free time to access that application. So here the video service or anything, WhatsApp app, anything, what if you are consider, what it is saying is, if you are considering, so there is no equal usage here. Somebody will use at this time, somebody will use at this time. So based on the surveying, what they said is, at the morning times, the people who are means working are not using these services relevantly. So those people who are not using this relevant services at this, at the morning time, are using at the night time, according to the survey they are specifying. And the other thing, second one you are having is the non-interactive workload. So here there is no need to specify, there is no need to be involve the any users here. So what we need to do is nothing but to progress or to perform anything. So here what we need to is there has to be the HPC computing, high performance computing has to be involved here. Means HPC means the system has to be involved here. So the data center what we are providing should be handle the workload here. It is not based on the things what you are providing. It is, there is no usage of the human beings or anything. So if you are performing the task, how much you are taking the time to complete the task, and then next you are performing is the satisfactory here has to be considered. So if you consider the performance at this workload, so these are at the normal levels. So there is no any high level, there is no any low level based on the timings. It is not considered here. So after that, here having an consideration, that is an approach. So how you providing these things here? So why we need to consolidate means, how we are considering the consolidation for your servers. What are the main reason for this is underutilization. Means a large number of the hardware, space, power, and management cost of these servers is wasted. Why? Because they are not being used here. Because if you are mentioning the servers has been worked under some circumstances there, so there could be chances that a server is not using for a long time. So if the server is not using for a long time means it is not accepting the data or it is not sending any data here. It is working. It is in a on state only. It is performing the. It is not performing any task. Just it is in a idle state. So for that ideal state also, what it is doing, it is using hardware, space, power, and the management cost. So these are the factors it is affecting. So to reduce all these things, what we need to do is we need to take an approach. That approach is known as a server consolidation. So what it does here is, it is to improve the low utility ratio of the hardware resources. How you are perform means, how you are means lowering, that is you are reducing this utility ratio is by reducing the number of physical servers in this one. So here there are several techniques are there. Means server consolidation means here are the several techniques. In that we are having the first one is centralized on the physical consolidation, and the next one is the virtual based server consolidation. So here the technique, what is this such the centralized on the physical consolidations is, so here the centralized means rather than maintaining servers at various branch offices, what we need to do is nothing but a organization will take all these services in the centralized location. So here physical consolidation means organization reduce the total number of the servers by merging this workload onto the fewer servers. Means it is not taking a single server here. So here it is reducing the work to here. So it is taking the, we are taking the example that is a Microsoft Azure. So here the printing and the next file configuration manager, Windows deployment services, read only the controller, these are the different services we are using. So these different services are migrated into the Azure virtual machines, and these are being means travels, and these has been looked after by the branch office users. Means they has been used by these things, and they has to be travels, and they has to be allocate any file or to have to print or any services they have to use, any controller has to make process. What it does is nothing but it simply connects to this Microsoft Azure. These branch office users will access all this data what you are having there. And the next second one we are having is the virtual based server consolidation. So these are the factors which are affecting these things. So the first one is this type of the consolidation will enhance the hardware utilization. That is, if you are supposing to specify the underutilized that is servers, if they are consolidated into fewer servers, which are going to enhance the resource utilization, what it does is nothing but it needs to facilitate backup services and disaster recovery also. Means not only providing the simple, that is you are mixing up all these things and providing into a single server, it is not the thing. What it has to do is nothing but we need to maintain the facilities, that also the backup services and the disaster recovery here. And then what it is another thing, it is invoking or it is enabling a service or an approach, that is agile provisioning and deployment of the resources. That is the images of the guest operating systems what you are using and their applications are readily cloned and reused. Means there has to be means in the migrations we have seen that the migrations has to be applied to our things. So for any failure, any per system any occurred there, what we need to do, we need to take our virtual environment to the another host environment. So for that we have to support these cloning has to be done. That is, we need to ready our the disk images and then next processing has to be included. So reusing and the ready cloned has to be involved, has to be invoked, enabled by using these approach here. Next, another representation is the total number of the the total cost of the ownership is reduced. Means there is a server virtualization what we are specifying causes. So the purchasing of the new servers what we are specifying, or the smaller data center footprints and the lower maintenance cost what you are mentioning, lower power cooling cabling requirements, whatever you are specifying, it could be reduced here because we are providing virtual environment. So by this virtual environment we are not purchasing any new servers here and we are not processing anything here. And then next second the last one we are having is also improving the availability and the business continuity. Means if any crash has been occurred in the guest operating system, there could be no effect at the host operating system which is holding this guest operating system or any other also. So what it is doing is it is simply taking back to the migration point and it is accessing all these things. So by this it comes way easier to the transfer a virtual machine from one server to the another. So here the virtual services what we are providing, there is no need to uh, know that what is the hardware they are using, what is the environment they are providing. It is not necessary to know that these they should be aware is not the considerable here. So if they are not aware of all these things, because there is no any problem here. So if they want to know about your host operating system, okay, well and good, you can know. So if they don't know about the host operating system also, what it does is but simply processing all those things what you are having there. So this is one example we are having. So here we are providing two different representations here. So here I am taking one example, that is which is having the one remote control, and then one is the file hub here. So both are supporting multiple tasks here. Means here the remote control, which is a universal one. So what it is doing? It is accessing the data to perform the task in the home theater. Means the remote control is what you are providing for the different tasks. For different tasks, we are accessing different remote controls here. So if you are allocating a single server, means if you are allocating a single thing to execute or to processing the multiple tasks. So here one it is example. So it is used for these TV and then audio services, cable box, mod devices, and then next Roku, and then Blu-ray DVD, and anything what you means you can operate your AC, and then next you can process your lights. All these things, whatever you are providing, could be done by the single, that is universal remote. For means to reducing all these, means to get to look after many things, to operate AC we are breaking another remote or like that. So what we are doing is we are reducing this thing to here. Next one. So here we are maintaining this smart file hub, which is used for these file storaging. So what the file storaging it is supporting? It is taking the Dropbox, Google Drive box, and the next SAS, NAS, and the next FTP servers, and means it is accessing all the dates of the different types, where it means the different modules or the different centers where we can access all these things. Means it is not maintaining for the FTP server, it is not maintaining another one, as it is not maintaining another one. So what it is doing is based on this functionality, it is accessing all these data and processing the things what you are having here. So here another one is what are the factors it is affecting. So what we need to do is nothing but we need to automating data centers means it's not the simple one. To automate a data center, what we need to do here is we need to automate the data center operations, that is resource scheduling, architectural support, power management, automatic or autonomic resource management, performance of the analytical models, and the data centers which are which we are providing as a automated means could be efficient, on demand, fine grained, and then scheduler what you are using has to be the key factor to improve the resource utilization. So these are the things what you has to be specified. And then another one is the dynamic CPU allocation. The dynamic CPU allocation has to be considered here as a main and the major factor, because it is completely based on the excuse me, virtual machine utilization and application level quality of the service metrics here. So if you both CPU and the next memory, what you are considering automatic means automatically adjusted to your our resource overhead based on the workloads what it is providing. So if we need to take the scheme, means representations here. So the representation of this thing is we are using a two-level resource management. So what it is doing is it is using a local controller at the VM level and a global controller at the server level. Means we are not separating. We are using two different controllers here, which are being used at the virtual machine level and the server level also. Means what these controller does is particularly here they will implement the automatic resources allocation via the interaction of these global and the local controllers what we are using. So for that, what are the techniques we are providing is there is a multi-core and then next virtualization are the two techniques what we are using to enhance these each other. So these are the things we are considering while the consolidation. And the next one is the virtual storage management. Here we will see what is the virtual storage management we are processing here. So in this we are accessing what is a virtual storage management. The virtual storage management is specified is two types here. First one is a storage management, storage virtualization, and the another one is a system virtualization here considered. So first, what we are doing is virtual storage, or also specifying that is virtual memory. Here, the virtual memory is a memory management technique that provides idealized abstraction of the storage resources that are actually available on the given machine. So, in which it creates an illusion of to the user very large main memory. Here, how you are going to provide means how it is going to work here. So we are taking the main memory and it is having virtual memory organization. We know the cache memory is a virtual memory here. So what it is doing is it is taking the sum of the copy of your main memory and it is storing into that thing and it is processing the things here. So for this it needs a physical address and the next virtual address has to be maintained, that the main memory unit has been considered here. Now the DMA transfer is also specified here. So this is the working strategy of this virtual memory. So here, how we are going to provide in the cloud computing or the data center automation. So the first one, data storage. What you are mentioning, that is a storage virtualization. So here, the storage virtualization is specified as describing the aggregation and the repartitioning of the disk at very coarse time scales for user by physical machines. Means we need to specify that these has to be done by these systems. What you are providing at these partitioning of the things, that is the disk has to be done by the time scales what you are providing. Whereas in the system virtualization, the virtual storage includes storage managed by the VMMs and the guest operating system also. Means the data what you are providing, that is the data stored in this environment, has to be classified into two different categories. The first one is the virtual images, and then sorry, virtual memory images, and the next one other one is the application data. Means there is a virtual images or the virtual memory images. What are they is, they are just using all these things. Means in the virtual environment what the guest operating system it is supporting, and then next what are the applications it is having, and the application data includes all the other data we are supporting here. So in the system virtualization, the another concept or the another aspect we need to consider here is encapsulation and isolation. So the what here means, if you are means dealing with a traditional operating system and its application what you are providing has to be running on them to have can be encapsulated in virtual machines. If you are providing only one operating system runs in the virtualization environment, while many applications can run by using this operating system here. So by this, the system virtualization allows multiple virtual machines to run on the physical machine, and the virtual machines which are completely isolated here. So to achieve this encapsulation and isolation, the system software and the hardware platform, whatever you are using, such as the CPUs, your chipsets, whatever, they has to be rapidly updated. Because the storage, if you are not updating all these things, the storage what you are using, it is could be lagged here. So the storage systems what you are is, what you are using without updation, they will become like main bottleneck for the virtual machine deployment. So for this, what we need to provide is, we need to take these virtual environment into the consideration, while updations has to be allowed here. Means how we are going to provide these virtual environment means, as we know, that is we need to take a virtualization layer, that is which has to be inserted between the hardware and the traditional operating system which we are using in your host operating system for supporting this virtualization. So this procedure, what you are mentioning, what you are providing, that is inserting the virtualization into these things, could complicate the things. To overcome this thing, what we need to do is nothing but we need to take these things has to be done in a smooth way. So if you are considering these storage management of the guest operating system, it is also perform that is we need to take the things from the real hard disk, while these guest operating system what we are providing cannot access the hard disk data. So for that, what we need to do is nothing but we need to take the some single physical machine which can be accessing all these things to the storage primitives what we are using, that is means accessing has to be done by the guest operating system. So for this, what we need to do is nothing but we need to provide the mapping here. So for this mapping also, what we need is nothing but the operations which are used for these mapping or remapping across in these hosts, and then any disk what you are providing has to be done in a simple manner. So if we are taking this to a data center, what we need to do is nothing but we need to maintain several virtual, that is thousands of virtual machines here. So there also we need to maintain the virtual machine images also. Means we need to maintain thousands of virtual images, and the next thousands of the virtual machines also. So by this, we need to take remapping or the mapping as a challenge here. So to solve these things, what we have to do is nothing but we need to make the management while enhancing the performance and reducing the amount of the storage occupied by these VM images. So for this, we are using an environment which is called as a parallax environment. which is a distributed storage system for virtualization environment. So it is providing a solution which is called as a SaaS, that is content addressable storage, which is going to reduce the size of the virtual images and then support of these virtual machines based systems in these data centers. So how it is going to provide means here we are having one representation. There is a diagrammatical representation. So here a cluster-wide this administrative domain manages all these storage appliances what you are having, that is virtual machines. These storage appliances what you are providing virtual machines will allow the functionality that is currently implemented within the data center. And then hardware do we what you are using could be pushed out and implemented on these individual hosts. Means we are maintaining different things here. So different physical hosts are there, different providing virtual machines environment are there. All are using only Xenon. So here how we are going to take here these things means the mechanism what we are using is will enable the things what you are having. So how you are going to enable here is take the advanced storage features such as the snapshot facilities. That is, it is taking the things of the snapshot and it is implemented in the software and could be delivered to the above network storage targets what it is having. So here the Parallels what you are using is itself run as a user level application. Means it provides virtual disk images, that is a VDIs, to the VMs. So VDIs to the VMs has been includes. So how we are going to provide these VDI? It is a single writer virtual disk which may be accessed in any means location transparent manner. Means any from any physical host or the Parallels clusters we need to consider. Here we are using the VDI. What you are providing is are the core abstractions which are provided by these Parallels, which are being used by the Xens, that is virtual machines what you are providing tab drivers to handle the block request, and what they are doing is nothing but and they are implementing a tab disk library to store all these things. So this library what you are providing will act as a single block virtualization service for all the client virtual machines on the same physical host. Means the physical host is the same and we are accessing multiple virtual machines here. So in this parallel system, what we are using, if the storage appliance is the virtual machine, then it easily connects to these physical hardware device for blocking and the next network accessing also. So the things what you are, the implementation what you are providing will easily enable a storage administrator with to live upgrade the block device drivers in an active cluster what you are using. Means we need to not no need to maintain the multiple accessing or the multiple addresses or the multiple things here. What we need to do is simply we will take all these things to be done, all these performance will be done by using the shared block device what we are providing. After that we are having the third one is a cloud operating system for virtualized data centers. Means here the data centers must be virtualized to serve as a cloud providers here. So you are having a table which is used, which has been using the four manager or the operating system platforms here. The first one is a Nimbus, Eucalyptus, OpenNebula, and the vSphere 4 here. So these managers, what you are using, these are all the open source software available to the general public. Only in between these things, the last one what you are considering is a proprietary operating system for the cloud resource virtualization, which we are using for these management over the data centers. So these managers what we are used to create the virtual machines and aggregate them into the virtual clusters. For these types of the elastic resources, we are not providing any resources that is a restriction of the, we are providing the resources as the elastic resources. So the Nimbus and then Eucalyptus, that is the first two, will support the essential virtual networks, whereas these Open Nebula will have the features to provide these dynamic resources and make advanced reservations for all these things. So if you are considering all these three, that is Nimbus, Eucalyptus, and the Open Nebula, they will apply the Xen and the KVM for the virtualization. That is this kernel virtual machine, and the Xen hypervisor will use it for the virtualization. Whereas a vSphere 4, what it uses the hypervisors EXS and EXXI from the VMware to provide the virtualization. So here all these things will support the virtualization, but also using the things what it is having for the supporting. So we are having the two examples to explain about these that is Eucalyptus, and then next vSphere 4 here. So the first one is Eucalyptus for virtual networking of the private cloud. So how it is considering Eucalyptus means Eucalyptus is an open source software system which is intended to mainly for supporting only the infrastructure as a service clouds. Means it is not concentrating on the other services, it is completely concentrating on the IaaS only. And it also supports, primarily what it is doing is it is supporting the virtual networking, management of the virtual machines, virtual storage. What we are putting is not even supported here. So the purpose here what we are providing is it is to build the private clouds that can interact with the end users through Ethernet or internet. Here means why we are creating this environment means to build the private clouds to support other to be interact with the end users through the internet or the Ethernet, and also supports the interaction with the other private clouds or the public clouds over the internet. Means here there is a short, and that is it is not supporting very much security here. And what are the features what we are providing is on the grid or the cloud operations we are using. So here this is the representation of the Eucalyptus here. So the Eucalyptus is used as each means which has been implemented on the each high level system component, and it is as a standalone web service here. Each web service what it is has been designed will expose a well defined language diagnostic API in the form of WSDL, what you are representing here. And then the documentation of the which you are using will operations on the services which can perform the input or the output operations here. So furthermore, here there is also some different representations here, that is which are the CM, GM, and then IM. So which are being considered as resource managers here. There are the three resource managers in this representation. So which have been used in the cluster A and the cluster B, and also in the public network here. So these are specifying, IM is specified as an instance manager, which controls the execution, inspection, and terminating of the virtual machine instances on the host where it runs. Means it is running in the private environments. In the private environment, what it does is here, it is completely take the control of the things what it is specified. The group manager. The group manager will gather all this information about these schedules and the virtual machine executions on the specific instance managers, as well as the managers these virtual instance network also. Now later on we are having the first one, that is the first one which is connected to the public network, that is a CM, cloud manager. The cloud manager, it is the entry point to the cloud for users and administrators. So what it does here, it is queries node managers for information and about the resources, and makes the scheduling decisions and implements them by making the request to the group managers here. So if you are considering this in terms of the functionality, the Eucalyptus, what it is, it will work like the AWS APIs here. So it can interact with the EC2 also, that is Elastic Cloud, what you are providing with Amazon, it also interact with them, and also provide a storage API which can emulate, that is Amazon S3 API for storing user data and virtual images of these also. So if it is installed on the Linux based platforms also, if it is installed like that, it is also compatible with the EC2 and with the SOAP and the queries what it has to be imposed to access all the information through the CM, GM, and then IM also. So later on, it also provides some web portal services, REST and CLI, and has also implemented, also be used by these things what we are having. So another example we are having is the vSphere 4. That is the fourth one we are having. So it is using VMware vSphere 4 as a commercial cloud operating system. So here what it is doing is it is offers a hardware and the software ecosystem which has been developed by the VMware, and which has been released in these April 2009. So this is the representation of these things. Here it shows the overall architecture. The system what you are using will interact with the user applications via interface layer, called vCenter here. Means we are using VMware vCenter suite here. So it is going to interact with this one. So it is what it is for what it is designed is to offer the virtualization support and the resource management of the data center resources in building private clouds here. So the system what we are providing, that is a VMware, what we are providing is the first cloud operating system which supports availability, security, and scalability in providing the cloud computing services as well as here. So if we are using the vSphere 4, it is built with the two functional software suites, that is the infrastructure services and the application services as it is considered. So if we are specifying these things, it is also having the three component packages which are intended mainly for the virtualization purpose only. So that one is the vCompute is for ESX, ESXi, and then DRS virtualization libraries for the which are from the VMware. So vStorage is also used there. So what the vStorage is doing is it is supported by these VMS and the thin provisioning libraries, and the vNetwork offers what we are using. The vNetwork is offering these distributed switching and the networking functions also. Whatever these packages what we are using will interact with the hardware servers, disk, and the networks in the data centers, and also to communicate with other external clouds also. Not only with the internal clouds, it can interact with the other external clouds also. The application services which are all used or it's been divided into the three groups here, that is availability, security, and scalability here. So the availability supports include Notion, vMotion, storage vMotion, HEA, that is a high availability, fault tolerance, and the data recovery from the VMware. Whereas the security package supports vShield, Jones, and the VMsafe here. The scalability packages was built with DRS and Hot Add here. So if you are any means if you are using any type of things, what you have to do is nothing. You must learn all these things vCenter interface in order to link with the existing applications or to develop the new applications also. So next one we are having the trust management in virtualized data centers. So here we need to take whatever the things means any intrusions will occur, what are the things what are the policies we will take to recover the data or anything has to be considered here. So here the VMware manages these architecture by using Livewire for intrusion detection, which is dedicated with the VM here. So the version also supports entirely how we are going to take these. It is entirely encapsulates the state of the guest operating system which is running inside. So the encapsulation mission what you are using can be copied and shared over the network and be moved like the normal file, which is proposing the challenge to the VM security which is having, that is we can provide the secure isolation, and also hardware resources what is accessing has to be controlled by these VMM, because need to provide the security for all these things we are having. So in this first one we are having the VM based intrusion detection. So in this way what we are going to provide is the intrusions what we are raised, which are the unauthorized access. So which is to a certain computer from any local or the network users, whatever we have to do is nothing but we need to detect the intrusion. So for recognizing the unauthorized access, so for that what we are using is we are building a system, that is IDS to which is built on the operating system, and it is based on these characteristics of the intrusion actions what we are taking. So if you are taking a typical IDS, it can be classified as host-based IDS, HIDS, and the network-based IDS, NIDS. So depend upon the data source what we are using, we are classifying into this thing. So if you are taking a HIDS, that is a host-based one, it can be implemented on any monitoring system. So when the monitor system what you are specifying is attacked by the hackers, what we need to do is nothing but the HIDS also faces the risk of the being attacked here, because it is completely the intrusion system what your detection system is completely based on the host based one. So if it is attacking on this monitoring the thing, it could be attacked here. Here go for the NIDS. NIDS is based on the flow of the network traffic, which can't detect these fake actions here. Means what you have to consider is nothing but the fake actions what are has been occurred has to be specified. So the virtualization which is based on these intrusion actions detections can isolate these guest virtual machines on the same hardware platform here. So the virtual machines, what here has been included or which has been added into the same mission. What you have to do is nothing but they won't affect the means if you any guest virtual machine has been attacked, means that virtual machine is attacked means, so if we say that the next if you are having 10 virtual machines to your host machine, they are using their 10 means if it is one is attacked, they will say that remaining 9 also attacked, not like that. So these are the isolated, means here there is no any interaction between these 10. So what it does is nothing but the first one attacked means it could be isolated. There is no any particular action on the remaining ones also. So for this means they are, how you are going to say is they never influence other virtual machines. She is similar to that is NIDS. What you are providing is a separate one. It is that is operating. If you are specifying any other things means AVMM monitors and the audit access request, what you are specifying for the hardware and the system software also will also be what you are specifying will be deferred or they will be isolated for each and every one. So to avoid these fake actions, these isolation will help. And then next the process the host based that is a HIDS actions could be means whatever the advantages of the HIDS will be processed here. Means the how you are going to perform here. We are having two different methods of for implementing these virtual machine IDS. So there are many different methods are there. For the first one is either the IDS is an independent process in which virtual machine or a hypervised machine on the VMM or the IDS what you are considering is integrated into the VMM. Means we are having different two representations, either the IDS which is an independent one or another one is the which is the integrated one. So if it is independent or integrated, independent means it will have the high privilege, integrated means it will have the same privilege to access the that is the hardware as well as the VMM it is provided. So for this representations for these types of the methods they are included. The Garfinkel and the Rosenblum has proposed an ideas to run on the VMM, which is the high privileged one. So this is the architecture of the things, the concept what they are supposed to say. So what this says here is the VM, what you are using is it is an IDS contained things here. So what it is doing here is contains a policy engine and a policy module. So the policy platform, the framework is also there. The means in the IDS. The IDS not the monitor host. What is containing in the IDS. So it is maintaining policy engine, policy module, policy framework, which can monitor events in the different guest virtual machines by the operating system interface library. Means there could be a the connection between these monitor host and the next. We are considering this thing as a P trace. So the P trace means it is tracing to the secure policy of the monitor host. Means without the delay, what we need to do is nothing but to predict and prevent all the intrusions. We have to do is nothing but we need to trace all these things. So the analysis of these intrusion actions, what you are performing, it's extremely important here. Means we are not blindly allowing any others to access your virtual machines or the host machine. What we need to take is nothing but we need to take the credibility of the integrity of the log here. Means at the time of the writing or anything, user logs must analyze what is the attack action here. So for this, what we need to do is nothing but we need to take the log actions here. Log has to be considered who has been traced or who has been connected to our system, who is accessing has to be considered here. So for this, the IDS log service is based on these what you are maintaining operating system kernel. So when an operating system is invaded by the attackers, any attackers, what you are providing, the log service should be unaffected. Means the log service, what it is having, how many are connected, or it has to be specified here. So beside these ideas, we are having the two representations which are relevant to or prevent to these intrusion actions. One is the honeypot and the honeynet. So they attack and provide the fake system views to attackers in order to protect the real system. So the attack what you are providing, the attack what you are specifying here has been used here, and then next specified by using the honeypot representation. So what the honeypot does here is honeypot is purposely defective the system which simulates an operating system to cheat and monitor the actions of an attacker. Whereas these are divided into the two forms also, these honeypot, physical and the virtual one. So the guest operating system, what you are providing and the applications running on these virtual machines has been also divided. Whereas the host operating system and the VMM must be guaranteed to prevent the attacks from these virtual machines in these virtual honeypot what we have created. Likewise, a honeynet also be will act like this only. So you are providing another example of this thing, that is the EMC establishment of the trusted zones to protect virtual clusters for multiple tenants here. So multiple tenants means multiple people are using our things at a time. So for this EMC and the VMware what use it means join their hands to build a security middleware for the trust management in the distributed system and the private cloud segment. So the concept here is known as the trusted zones, which has to be established as a part of the virtual infrastructure what we are using here. So here having one diagrammatical representation. This diagrammatical representation will illustrate the concept of creating the trusted zones for these multiple virtual environment, that is a virtual clusters or the applications and the operating systems what you are using for the each tenant here. Means it is mentioning different tenants are connected to this one physical host or the one cloud environment. For these things we are providing the virtual machine isolation here. Means one virtual machine affected means there is no any problem or any occur to these cloud provider or any virtual there's any tenant one who are using. So in this diagram, you have the physical infrastructure, which is the cloud provider, and we are providing the two tenants here, tenant one and the tenant two. The tenant one is accessing the operating systems and then applications also, as well as the files it is providing. So it is providing the things here. So here the physical infrastructure is at the bottom. It is marked as a cloud provider here. The virtual clusters or the infrastructures which are shown in the upper boxes of these for the two tenants here, that is of upper one. So the public cloud is associated with these global user communities at the top here. So there is a top representation as a global representation given as a public cloud here. So these arrowed boxes, so there is an red color arrows are there on the left of these things. What it is specifying is, so between the zoning boxes means the security functions and the actions taken at the four levels of the from the user to the provides has been specified here. So they are using the four different levels of actions. What the things has been performed has been situated at these levels where it is specified. So if you are having the arrowed boxes at the right side here, so the right side it is representing, that is there are some six boxes are there here, the four boxes are there here, the six boxes what you are using representing the functions and the actions applied between the tenant environments and the provider and the global communities. So anti malware and then cybercrime intelligence, strong authentication, data loss prevention, encryption and key management, tokenization, all the things has to be specified, has to be used by the tenants, and then global cloud, that is a public cloud, and the cloud provider here. And these identification, identity federation, virtual network security, and the access management, security info, and the event management has been used by these things here. So here, all these available countermeasures such as the antivirus, worm count, intrusion detection, encryption, the decryption mechanisms are being applied to here to insulate the trusted zones and the isolation of the virtual machines for their private tenants what you are providing. So the innovation is what? So the main innovation here is to establish trust zones among the virtual clusters what they are using here. So if you are using any different representations, if you are supporting here two tenants. So if you are giving the multiple tenants also, what it is going to perform, what he is accessing, how you are going to perform has to be listed here. Means these are the services I am providing and these are the actions we have to be taken if it is done here. So it is providing the environment which has to be accessed by these global cloud also. So what could be the end result? The end result here is to enable an end-to-end view of these security events and the compliances what here it is having across the virtual clusters, which has been dedicated to different tenants. So here we are providing these things that it is accessing to the different tenants here, and accessing all these things has to be done by multiple processings, and it is also providing the things has to be done in a manner That is, the tenants what you are using, that is the multiple virtual machines what you are providing, virtual environments you are providing for the multiple peoples won't affect by the affecting one or many what you are considering. If it is two virtual machines are means attacked, or two virtual machines or you are detected as by the attacker, these the remaining won't be processed, the remaining won't be considered here. So this is about the virtualization of the data center automation. Thank you.